I see what Chaps and Chappets, Game Chap and Bertie here.
Yes.
Yes, indeed, fellows, and I dare say we are now discussing some rather interesting news. It seems Mr. Notch, well, let's just say he's made a purchase, old chap.
Interesting news. I think it's amazing news. I don't know what sort of news it is.
It's quite a shock, I have to say.
Mr. Notch has been, and look, this is Mr. Minecraft himself, Notch.
Yes, that's
Mr.
right.
You know, the end and the dragon and all that, and that sort of thing, and Blocky Notch.
Blocky Notch.
He's been out shopping.
Shopping.
He's been going shopping. But instead of going shopping in boring old Sweden, well, it's nothing wrong with it. I've been there and it's quite good. But instead of going shopping in Sweden or Stockholm or something like that,
yes,
he decided he would go pop over to Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills?
Oh, why not?
The Beverly Hills?
The Beverly Hills. This is not the lady you know down the street.
No.
This is actually the place over in America.
My goodness
yes,
me.
Well, it most certainly is. And he thought he might be a good idea if he bought a house, and why not? Because it's a bit cold at night when you're over there and there's nowhere to stay.
That's true.
You see?
Well.
So he thought he'd buy a house.
Well, that's handy, I suppose, if one happens to be there, you know.
Most certainly. But Mr. Notch didn't just buy a house, because that would be boring. Because if you just go and buy a house, you just go in there to the estate agent, I'd like to buy a house, please, and he'll say, well, okay, all right, then.
Just about.
That one over there in the corner, yes, okay. But Mr. Notch didn't do that. You see, what he thought he'd be a good idea to do is to select the most expensive house in the entire area of Beverly Hills.
What?
This is what he thought it would be a good idea to do. Yes.
My goodness. And how much was this house, old chap?
Well, now you see, it wasn't. We'll get to that in a second. You see, there were some other people also looking around this house. Some other chaps off the street.
Oh.
You know, just people that street folk. You know, I think one of them was Beyoncé, actually.
What?
Yes.
Beyoncé?
Yes. Another one might have been some chap called JZ.
Or Jay-Z, as the Americans would refer to.
JZ, whatever you like to say.
Okay.
But anyway.
So this house was actually being looked at by Beyoncé. What kind of house was this, old chap?
Well, yes. Now this was a house, but the thing is, you see, now that when you're talking houses, you're talking. But they cost money, you know.
Do they?
They do.
Lots of money.
Now, apparently this house out there was the most expensive house in the whole of Beverly Hills. And I don't know whether you know, but, Beverly Hills is quite an expensive and sought-after place in America, so they tell me.
Slightly, right.
And the price of this house, the tag upon the house was 70 million United States dollars.
Did you say yen, old chap?
No, I didn't. I said 70 million United States dollars.
$70 million?
Certainly, and for those of you who are watching in Great Britain, that is approximately 44,585,000 roughly pounds.
Anyway, fellows, so Notch bought, the most expensive house in Beverly Hills.
Yes.
Because Notch is Notch, and Notch can do that sort of thing. Because Notch owns Minecraft, of course. So why not? Why not buy the most expensive house in the whole of the area?
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, of course not.
But anyway, he's bought this house.
Yes, well.
Yes, and he bought this house. And yesterday, I think he showed a little picture on his Twitter, I believe.
Now, yes, we have to add this to the reference here, fellows. Mr. Notch also showed this little photo, as you can see, feet up there. Now, I don't know whether that was taken from the new house or his old apartment, but either way, he was certainly saying, well, I feel quite good about myself.
Well, I think it's a little statement, and I think if you have a look at that, it doesn't take a lot to realise that that's the chap's making a statement there.
Yes.
You see? A little statement. And I think you don't need too much imagination to work out what he's saying.
Well.
I've arrived and here it is. This is the life.
That's right, yes.
This is it for the rest of you out there.
Yes. Now, of course, we have to say Mr. Notch, I believe, received just short of 2 billion United States dollars from the sale of Minecraft, of course. So, to him, obviously, 70 million is pocket change.
Most certainly. But the thing is, though, that everyone's interested in this because, of course, it's Mr. Notch and he's made Minecraft and that's fun, you see. But you see, the thing is, let's have a look at this house, shall we?
I think we should. Now, this house is so important, fellows, that guess what? That's right, it actually has its own website. Number 1181 North Hillcrest, Beverly Hills, CA 902010. It has its own site, as you can see there. My goodness me. And the website, of course, states, and I quote, let's see, from its exquisite design to its breathtaking views, it is an unprecedented multi-sensory experience from the moment you'll step foot on this exceptional promontory property, sitting at approximately 23,000 square feet. This home is a true masterpiece of architectural excellence, exhibiting the sharpest... You get the idea.
Yes, I think we get the idea. Now, the thing is, you see, yes, indeed. And now, have we got any pictures of this house we can see?
Of course, fellows. As you can see there, the house itself is, it's very modern. It's a really modern place.
It's modernistic. It's modern. It's got a pond or something. No,
A pond? I think it's a pool, I think.
It's got a pool at the front, yes.
Yes.
And as you can see, looking around the house, well, it's very modern. Now, personally, I can go either, but I particularly like these modern style houses. I also like the old English antique houses too, but I like the style of this very much.
Yes.
I must say, it's looking nice. I like the modernistic style.
We've got a very modernistic style, which I say has hints of 70s perhaps in there. I'm not sure, Elby, but certainly, in any case, this is a very modern-looking place with all the trimmings, and indeed, it has, I believe, 22 or 23,000 square feet, as the article said there, set over 2 levels, I understand, so it's not a small place either.
Most certainly, but I think as we look at the pictures a little bit closer, does it have a lot of land with it, or is it rather a small patch? Let's have a look.
I don't think there's much land, you'll see, because normally they mention these things if it's lots and lots of land, so
certainly.
Perhaps it hasn't really got land so much with it as opposed to a garden of sorts, but we can't really see outside, but we do know inside it has, let's see, 8 beds and 11 baths, you know.
It's got 8 bedrooms, this house, okay.
No, I'm wrong, it's 8 beds and 15 baths, because, you need 15 bathrooms.
15 bathrooms is very, very important.
One for the dog, one for the cat,
because
one
if
for
you're
the
health
postman.
conscious and you're walking, you see, and it's a long way to walk, you need to stop and have a bath on your way.
What if you need the toilet after having just, I don't know, done it, but had fine dinners with views over the city, as you can see. That's lovely,
Yes. Now
you
the
can
thing
have views over the city.
Now the thing is, the house itself, the question is the house worth $70 million?
Well, now, I dare say, in order to understand the answer to the question, is this house worth 70 million, you have to say, well, where did this house come from?
Most certainly
What's the backstory?
Now, the interesting thing is, you see, this house actually was purchased prior to it being sold to good old Mr. Notch by what's commonly known as a house flipper. Now, if you don't know what a house flipper is, this is some chap that comes along, or chaps, or collective, whatever it is, company,
a group,
buys houses, then does them up, if you like, adds little bits of flares and odds and ends to them, makes them look better, and then puts a price tag on top of what they've paid for it, and sells it to someone else and makes a profit.
Yes, that's right. Now,
in
this particular case, the word on the street, we haven't got 100% confirmation, but the word on the street is that actually there was formerly a different house standing at that location, and the chap that bought it, the flipper chap, as Bertie said, actually bulldozed the whole place down to the ground.
Most certainly, this is another thing they can do. Sometimes they'll buy the house and completely just flatten it and just start again.
That's right.
You see? But that's the trick. You then make profit on it. Now, apparently, the old house was bought for something in the region of 12 million United States dollars.
Hold on, old chap. I have my pocket calculator here, old boy, and it's given me a very big number, old chap.
Well, yes. Now all the chaps and chapettes out there, I'm sure they've already got the calculator. Yes, you see, and it's an awful lot of Bentleys and nice things. You might even, if you really go to a push, get a little private jet out of it as well.
I think you could actually.
You see?
So let's just assume that it cost this chap. It was a bad day for him. He had some bad supplies, so it cost him $5 million to make this house.
Yes,
because let's face it, fellows, building houses is cheap. It is.
Well,
when you compare it to tens of millions of dollars, it's cheap. I mean, if you look at that place, it's a fairly standard build on the outside.
Yes.
It's not sort of a Corinthian column pillars and Georgian design. It's a fairly standard sort of a modernistic house, so not too expensive to build. So if you allow $5 million and then take A from B and minus tax. Well, that's a lot of profit, old chap.
Well, even $10 million, even $15 million, you're talking about a very, very, very large profit here indeed.
Yes.
Has been made by this flipper. Now, it's in Britain, we say, or is it a rip-off?
In Great Britain, please, old
You
chap.
see, in Great Britain, of course, we'd say, is it a rip-off?
Well,
But the thing is, you see, perhaps Mr. Notch doesn't care anyway.
Well, I don't know. You'll see, of course, firstly, we have to bear in mind this house is in Beverly Hills in a very exclusive location. And, of course, location is very important when dealing with house prices. Do we have any examples of similarly priced places in England, old chap?
Well, yes, I was just going to come to that, you see, and I'm sure everyone will be interested. Now, those of you who are in the UK will know this area, but for those of you who are out there, all our watchers in America, and there's loads of you, and welcome along, we love you all.
Yes, indeed.
I'll give you a little bit of information here. Now, one of the places that is very, very popular outside of London itself, and that is North London and West London and places like that where properties are very, very expensive and extremely sought after, is a place called East Sussex.
Sussex?
Yes, this is East Sussex. Good old East Sussex.
It's a marvellous place. It's a lovely place.
And it's quite well sought after. It's quite near to London, and it's known as a nice area.
It's a bit of a, shall we say, an upper-class, poshy sort of area.
Well,
it's desirable, you know.
It's a desirable area, yes, indeed. Now, as I say, this is a place that some people like to go. Now then, and we're going to show you on the screen now a house that is available at the moment in East Sussex.
So just before we show them this house, Phil, how much is the asking price of this maison or house?
Well, just before I get to it, let's have a look at the house, and there she is there.
Oh, right.
Now, of course... Now,
that's large.
Well, it's not actually a house. It's actually a mansion.
A mansion?
It's an entire mansion.
So
yes.
we're getting on really towards the approximate definition of Paris here.
It's a mansion, yes, and not only that, but it is one of the finest Grade 1 listed Palladian mansions within reach of London in the United Kingdom.
Well, that's quite a claim, I say.
It has elevated...
So, just a moment, what does Grade 1 listed mean exactly?
Well, it means it's an old place, you see. It's got historical value to it, and you can't necessarily go on and just smash it to pieces, because it's got value, to the entire country.
So the property flipper...
Base.
I see, the property flipper can't come along and bulldoze it down.
The property flipper can't do that, no. Now, also it comes with 40 acres of land.
Well, that's something.
Yes, beautiful English countryside. It's got all sorts of things, and it has not 8 bedrooms, but 11 bedrooms.
Oh,
Although it fails a bit on the bathrooms, it's only got 7 of those.
a mere 7 bathrooms, that's
yes.
all.
Now this house is 12 million English pounds.
That's $20 million, old chap.
Which is about, as you say, $20 million. So that means that you could actually get 3 or more, actually, of these detached mansions in the United Kingdom or Great Britain for the price of that one.
Well, I say, well, that's
and
quite
as you can
something.
see some of the pictures, it's very, very nice.
Well, indeed. So we're comparing these two houses, fellows, and certainly it seems indeed as if the house in Beverly Hills there may be somewhat expensive, but...
Well, the thing is, you see, I can just hear people now running up and saying, well, excuse me, you're not trying to compare your East Sussex to Beverly Hills, are you? And of course, it's a good point.
Yes.
No, Beverly Hills is a very, very sought-after place, and most certainly there would have been a high premium put on the house because of the mere fact of its location. Beverly Hills is hot, there's a lot of people out there, and of course, it's the mere status. You're paying for the status of saying, excuse me, everyone else here, I'm the king on the block here, I'm the big man, I've got the biggest house in the whole of Beverly Hills. So it's a statement, and they're paying for that.
I think that's right, but also, you just said something wise there, and that is, of course, that this house is actually the most expensive house ever sold in Beverly Hills.
Yes,
and that alone tells you something. That alone tells you this is a very expensive price to pay for a house. And I think I read some opinions on the particular property websites there saying that indeed perhaps it was a tad overpriced, but let's just consider that it was overpriced. Let's say perhaps, yes, it was a high profit that the property chap took when he sold the property.
I think that's an understatement.
Well, yes, okay, a couple of tens of millions more than perhaps he should have done.
Yes.
But in any case, regardless of that, we have to say, what does it matter? Because Mr. Notch has got the cash.
Well, exactly. This is the thing, you see. And I think with that status thing, maybe Mr. Notch gets a kick out of that thing. Yes, I've just bought the most expensive house in Beverly Hills, and who could blame him? I think anyone would get a kick out of that.
Yes.
And of course, we know that the Jay-Z, I think it was,
Jay-Z,
and the other lady there,
Beyoncé
was there. Very well-known stars, of course, looking around it. And of course, Mr. Notch said, "Now, excuse me, I'll take that. Thank you very much." And they didn't buy it. They couldn't get hold of it.
That's interesting because apparently Beyoncé and Jay-Z actually held the winning bid on the property for $70 million because initially it was advertised at a staggering $85 million.
Yes.
But it seems that at the last moment, Mr. Notch somehow snatched the house away from them at $70 million, the same price, and all of a sudden the deal was done inside 6 days and it was in Swedish hands before you could say, goodness me, that's a lot of money to pay.
Well, yes, exactly. I mean, I don't know what they're worth. I don't know what their overall celebrities, those particular, I do know the worth of some celebs, but not those. No. And that maybe they didn't have that type of cash straight down on the table.
Well,
bang.
I don't know.
There may have been some sort of financing involved. We don't know that. I'm not saying they're not worth that. I don't know what they're worth. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure Mr. Notch probably didn't pay on credit.
No. No, I think he was sending in the black security vans with the big briefcases stuffed with the bills, old chap.
Yes,
100s.
apparently. And apparently there was cases of champagne involved and all sorts as well.
I should think there was. Well, indeed, fellows. So there are Mr. Notch gets in on the, shall we say, the high class and high tier of living there. He certainly is mixing with the best now, it seems, and he has his very own property in Beverly Hills to prove it. He is now, if you will, the king of Beverly Hills.
He most certainly seems to be, yes indeed. Apparently the deal was closed within 6 days, which is very very quick, I should
Very
say, for
fast.
a place that big. Now, just coming back to comparisons again, if you take the average price, for example, of a house in Great Britain over here, which is about 270,000 English pounds at the moment.
That's about what, $380,000, I suppose?
Yes, and I'm sure all the Americans say, how much? And say, yes, property is more expensive over here than it is over with you, chaps.
It's pricey, yeah.
It is, but it's about 270,000. So if you work that out and do your mathematics, it means it's about 170 houses.
So wait a
Something
minute.
like that.
Mr. Notch could have bought
It's
a
a
small
small
town. A small town for that money.
It's got a small town,
I
yeah.
see. Well,
But the thing is, you see, now there's the pictures of it. So what do you all think, Mr. Notch? Do you think this is just a terrible waste of money? Do you think it's a bad show on the community, Mr. Notch spending all this money like that?
Or do you think
is
he
it any of your
deserves it?
business? Yes.
Well, exactly.
Does he deserve it? Does he have pictures of the YouTubers all over the wall that help him to get there?
Oh, Bertie, stop it, for goodness sake. No, Fideos, indeed, Mr. Notch certainly has the money. He made all those sales of Minecraft so he can do what he wants with that cash. And I think certainly he's made a strong statement today by saying, yes, indeed, now I'm in too. I'm in Beverly Hills. I'm at the top of Beverly Hills, and here's my place. And, of course, he posted that photo to say, well, yes, indeed, I've arrived, and this is the life, you'll know.
Most certainly, yes. It'd be interesting to see what people think. I mean, there's this... feedback on it hasn't really, come back. There's not too much feedback on what's going on at the moment, but it's a very interesting news for any Minecraft fan and follower of Minecraft, and those of you like us who have sort of been involved and watched Mr. Notch come from the early days and then building the game up and everything.
Yes.
And now here he is, just a couple of years later. I would say lottery winner, but that's a bit small.
Yes, that's a small sum, really, lottery win. But there you are, Videos. What do you think of Mr. Notch's latest mega mansion purchase? And will this lead to more splashing out on his part? Or do you think he'll settle down there and just relax in his title as the King of Beverly Hills with the most expensive house in the whole area?
Well, if you've got the most expensive house, surely you have to have the most expensive car.
Well, I'm sure he's already got at least 10 of those, old boy.
And the most expensive dog.
And the most expensive bottle of champagne.
And we haven't got to the Piagets yet.
The Piaget, that's right.
The Piagets,
Or the Patek Philippe.
And the Pateks, forget the Rolexes. It's really, it's the Piagets, and that's a watch for those of you who wonder what it is.
He scrubs his bathroom floor with Rolexes, I think, old boy.
He does. The shoes, goodness knows. I mean, where do you go?
Well, indeed, there you are. Mr. Notch Videos rolling with the big wigs there. What do you think, I say? Thank you for joining us with the Game Channel Body reporting on the latest, shall we say, Mr. Notch news, indeed. We look forward to seeing you on sport, the next exciting outing, my word. Until then.